Hi guys, and welcome. I am Enigmius, and this is episode 17 of the Builder's Guide to Feed the Beast. It's also part 2 of our Red Power mini-series, and it's the second episode where we'll be talking about generating Blulectricity, because it's important for a lot of the other machines that we might want to use down the line. So today we're going to be focusing on some of the new stuff, but before we get to that, I just want to take a look at what I've done with my thermopiles. I'm down here in the basement where it's always raining, apparently. This is the updated setup for my thermopiles. You might remember in the last episode it was kind of a mess. This is creeper bait right here. There we go. So I had done some testing. I showed you guys the number of different setups that I had, and one of the tests that I did is the sort of setup that you're seeing here. If I can find one, no, they've all got battery boxes on them. Basically, a thermopile with a lava source block underneath it and 4 water around it. Only when I did the test, I used ice blocks because it was easier to carry around, a number of ice blocks than it was to carry around a number of buckets of water. So that's what I did. I used ice blocks, and when the ice melted, somehow, I don't know if it's intended or if it's a bug or a glitch of some sort, but when the ice blocks melted, they actually turned the lava to obsidian. And I didn't realize that until after I recorded the video and I was taking everything down and rearranging it. And that's why when I was doing the testing and I was testing it with a voltmeter, it went from seemed like it was doing okay to all of a sudden crap, is because the lava was gone. It had been replaced with obsidian. So one of the viewers posted a comment saying that this is actually the best setup, with lava source block on one side and then as many sides and just one side available for wiring or whatever. So that's what I decided to test, and it absolutely right. So that's what I'm using here. You can see, and I did it out of glass just so that I could more clearly illustrate. Every one of the thermopiles has a lava source block underneath. And then I'm setting them all up staggered like this so that when I put water source blocks around, all of the thermopiles are benefiting from it. So this thermopile has 4 water source blocks, and then when I put one here, this one will have 4, and this one will have, when it's done, everything will be about as compact as I think I can get it while still being as efficient as possible. Now, I'm not huge on getting every last bit of anything out of anything. I think sometimes that can ruin the game if a person is just too obsessed with that kind of thing. But at the same time, if there is a way to do things that in this case doubles your wattage, and your amperage, it means that you're getting more power out of the materials that you're investing in. For me, it just makes sense that I would want to do it that way. So I'm just showing you another option in addition to what I showed you in the previous episode, which put very simply is lava source block underneath each thermopile, and then build around it so you can put a water source block on all 4 sides, and then you run your wires or set your battery box on top or whatever it is you want to do. So that's just making sure before anyone lynches me saying that I'm telling you to set it up wrong. And it's working fairly well. This thing is probably going to be quite a bit larger by the time I'm done, but for the time being, it's expanding rather nicely. So that will be my stable, reliable, doesn't matter what's going on, I'll be getting Blulectricity coming in setup. But now we're going to look at the new stuff, which is actually really, really fun. And to do that, I also wanted to show you some of the things. Remember we were talking about microblocks and how you can use them for aesthetic purposes. You can sort of refine your builds. That's the typical Minecraft blocky sort of rounded edge, if you want to call it that. But then you get into the microblocks, and you can smooth it out quite a bit. It still looks a little bit jagged, right? It's not perfect, but it looks, a heck of a lot more smooth than the stone blocks underneath. And then I did something similar here, just kind of rounding off the edges a little bit. And then underneath, it's got sort of this decorative detail poking down. And most of that is done with microblocks. And the thing is, I can't really offer you a concrete, concise strategy for it, aside from just cut up some microblocks and experiment. Have some fun, stick them wherever you can find a spot and see what they do. So this is where we're going to put my wind turbine for my kinetic generator. Now, one of the bits of advice that we were given when we were shown how these things work by Direwolf 20 is, 1, make sure that it's not going to hit any blocks. So once I get it in place, I'll be taking this torch out. 2, it works faster if it's in a stormy area, so I've got it on the side of the biomes that can be stormy. And 3rd, the higher up you can stick it, the faster it will turn. And the faster it turns, whether it's because of altitude and or storms, the more power it generates. Now, I could have obviously put it up higher. I could have stuck it up there somewhere, but then I'd have to run all the wires down here before I could actually use what I was getting. So I went for a reasonable compromise. So I think we're at height 103. So that's pretty reasonable, I think. So we're going to get it set up. I'm going to show you most of the process. It's not really complicated, but again, we need some specialized tools. And it is a little bit on the spendy side. Like I said in the last episode, I suggested, this isn't something that you're going to be doing at the very beginning of the game as your primary method of generating blue electricity, because it does require a certain number of materials. Now, the first thing that you'll need is the kinetic generator itself, which is 6 iron ingots, the brass ingot, and the blue alloy ingot. We saw that in the last episode. These guys are made in the alloy furnace. There's nothing crazy there. But then we look at the motor, which is the component, and we see these copper coils, and then we go like this, and we see they're made with fine copper wire. Anytime you see fine copper wire or fine iron wire, which we'll be looking at as well, means you need a very specialized and very expensive tool, which I happen to actually be carrying around with me, the diamond draw plate. As far as I know, just off the top of my head, this thing is only made for used for making fine wires. So the recipe to make this is micro blocks, iron panel strips, right? You cut down an iron block into panels and then move the saw to the side in the crafting grid and cut it into the strips. So 4 of those. And a diamond panel, which is taking a diamond block and cutting it into 4. So that's your diamond draw plate. Now, to be fair, unless you're like ludicrous like me and you make like tons and tons and tons of frame motors and stuff at a time, this thing will last a really, really long time. So it's an investment. There's no getting around it. If you want to use the wind turbines right now to make the generators, you do need to have one of these to make the wires. So that's how to make it. Diamonds, and lots of them. So I've already made the kinetic generator. The other thing that you will need is the actual wind turbine. In this case, we're using the wind turbine. And I'll just show you there's a couple of different options. And I'm hoping that it'll I should probably try sail, canvas, wooden sail. Okay, and what is it used in? Please tell me. Right, these are the 2 options. This is the one that we're going to make, the wooden wind turbine. The other option is the wooden windmill. Similar materials. The wooden windmill is cheaper. You could just see this one, the wooden wind turbine. I'm just going to call it the turbine, is the 3 iron slab strips and 6 wooden sails. The wooden windmill is 4 wooden sails and 1 iron slab strip. So it's a little bit cheaper, but my understanding is that it breaks a little bit faster, possibly, and primarily it generates less power. So go big or go home. We're going to make the wooden wind turbine. We're set up to do that. So what we need to do is we've got the kinetic generator that this goes in. So now we need to make the turbine itself. So to do this, we need to make the 6 wooden sails. And each wooden sail requires 6 pieces of canvas, 2 sticks, and a wood block, or a wood plank, sorry. And each piece of canvas requires 8 bits of string and a stick. Now, you can you can harvest spiders for a very, very long time if you want, but there is a bit of a shortcut that I'll show you now. And apparently I already broke mine. I was looking for it. I had it previously. That's not wooden. So I'll have to make another one, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Card. It's this. It's the wool card. And to make one, you need 1 fine iron wire, walnut, or, whatever wood planks, and a stick. So I've got iron ingots. And I'll need to make some sticks. And I'll need a plank. So what we do, we make our sticks, and then to make the fine wire, and this is the same for making copper wires, you just put the iron ingot in the crafting grid with the diamond draw plate, and it makes your fine iron wire. So 1 piece of fine iron wire or 1 piece of fine copper wire is 1 ingot of the appropriate type. So to make this guy then, as we go like this, makes the wool card, And then I'm hoping that I left it in here. Yes, I left some wool. The nice thing about this wool card is you can take some wool and you put it in the crafting grid there, and it lets you make 4 string. Now I have to stop and think for a little bit of how many string that I need. That's 16, and I need 32 total, I think. We'll find out soon enough. I already made up some canvas, and I need 4 more, so this should be about right to get us where we need to be. Except I'm going to need another stick. We'll do 1, 2, 3. 3 canvas. We'll grab some more wood to make another stick. It's like having 2 crafting tables and 1 person. It's pretty convenient. So there's 4, and in here, if I could hit the right, there we go. There's the other 32. We'll need these, I believe. Yeah, and more wood. So let's see what we got here. We need 6, 12. Might as well just go for it. Leave 3 behind. 6. And then balance them out. So there's our 6 wooden sails. Now, like I say, if you stop and do the math on how many how many bits of string that you would need, you can get string from flax. If you get flax seeds, you start your garden. I'm probably going to be doing that, to be quite honest, because you will have to replace these turbines from time to time. So I will be starting up a flax farm alongside all the other farming bits as soon as I have a chance. And then what do we need for the rest of the turbine? I think we're pretty close. I think it's just the iron panel strips. Yeah, so iron, yeah, you cut it into the iron slabs and then into the slab strips, and I need 3 of them, which basically means I need a full iron block. Fortunately, I just happen to have iron here. Really feeling the copper crunch. I've got lots of iron, I've got lots of other ores, but copper is in really short supply, so looks like I'm going to have to do some mining. Will this cut it? Oh no, it wants the diamond saw. So this is the second recipe I can think of now off the top of my head. Actually, the third. You need the diamond saw to cut the diamond block to make the diamond draw plate, and you also need it to cut the iron block to make the slab strips. Or, you know what? I think I don't need that. Was I wrong? Yeah, I could have done it with the sapphire. I just had it in the wrong spot. At least one of you right now is screaming at your monitor. It's okay. I'll be okay, I promise. So 3 of these guys. Then these guys. That makes our wooden wind turbine. And now we can actually go set this up on our little arm out there. Just, you know, because this gets pretty boring if all I'm doing is making stuff. You're kind of like, well, I wanted to see what it looks like. So we'll do this. We'll get this set up, and then we'll talk about the transformer and the wire and all the other stuff. And we'll get it into place. So we need this guy, the kinetic generator. And we want this part sticking up. And then we take our wooden wind turbine. I think I need to stand back. Oh, will it not? Oh, that's right. You right-click on the turbine itself. You don't actually... And then you put that in there. And I'm standing in the middle of it. This is your wind indicator. The higher this goes, the faster this will be spinning. So currently this isn't so hot right now, but it might speed up once there's some rain action or whatever. So that platform worked out to be about the perfect size for the turbine. And I don't expect that it's going to start turning immediately because it's not receiving any power. And it's got, call it a built-in braking system. If it doesn't have anywhere to send the power, it actually shuts itself down so that it doesn't continue to experience durability loss until it has need for power somewhere, and then it will start moving again. So what we want to do is we want to make the transformer that will allow us to step up the power and hopefully get it to a more suitable destination a little bit more efficiently than by using just the regular blue electric wire. So the wire that we need is the 10 kilovolt wire. You see, I've made some here, and in order to make it, you just take some of the basic blue alloy wire and combine it with wool on a 1:1 ratio. to make the 10 kilovolt wire. However much you think you need. I made 24, which should be enough to get a certain distance, but what we need to do first is make the transformer. We actually need to make 2 transformers. We need to make one for the, you know, this side, and then we need to make one for the other side where we're going to hook it up to whatever we end up hooking it up to, and I have a feeling that's going to be a temporary setup as well. But it's fun. It's a fun concept. The recipes are different. So in order to get everything set up is a bit more entertaining than just doing the same recipes you've been doing forever. So I'm pretty okay with it right now. What we need is a Transylvanian? No, transformer. This one here, the voltage transformer, not to be confused with any of these guys or anything else. It's the voltage transformer that we want. And this is more of these copper coils. Same as we talked about when we made that motor. We needed to make it. So we need a total of 8 copper ingots cut up with our diamond draw plate. Where is it? There it is. 8 of these guys in here. We'll make 8 fine copper wire. Put this back in the bag because I'm tired of using them. See, these are the leftovers that I had from making this. So you'll probably, you know, from that one block, you'll end up getting 4 of the diamond draw plates. So call it an investment. Whether you want to or not. And I need these. And I think it's 2 iron in the middle, so we're going to try that, but I'll keep that handy just in case. So that should make our 2 copper coils. Oh, and I need to make 4. Dang nabbit. Alright. So, good. That's fine. So we need to make, this is just to make 1 transformer, and we need to make the 2 transformers. So I'm just going to quickly make some more of these guys, and of course I put the draw plate away. Draw plate, whatever. So 8 of these. And then that's not going to work. I need to make more of the iron bar things. 1, 2, that's in the wrong spot. You can actually use this pocket crafting table to cycle things around if you get them in the wrong spot, but if I catch it early enough, it's not worth doing the whole thing wrong just so I can do that. So there's those guys. Now we'll just take another quick look. So we got those. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do I have enough iron up here? I guess some in the chest downstairs. I thought I was so prepared and organized. There we go. I was prepared and organized for once. And that is, and then the 4 blue alloy ingots, which are upstairs. So it's really not too bad. Push coming to shove. It's a little bit more spendy than the industrial craft lower medium voltage transformers, but considering what it does, I would expect to be seeing a lot more of these in the not too distant future. Rumor has it that we can expect to see new machines and new things that take advantage of the additional power that's generated by these turbines relative to the other options. So we're just going to tuck some of this crap away. So I've got the 2 transformers, I've got some 10K voltage wire, I've got blue alloy wire, jacketed cable just because, and a battery box to store the power, and the rest of this stuff can go in here. There we go. So we'll head on up here. Oh, it's turning. That's kind of neat. It's not turning very fast, but it is turning. So what we'll do is we'll put the transformer down first. And you can see it's got a fat side here. And I don't think it's going to let me. Yeah, it won't let me jump over. It'll have a skinny side over there, and you'll be actually, you know what? I'm not doing a very good job if I'm not showing you. There you go. There's the skinny side. So this is the input for the regular blue alloy wire. All right, so you can see it's contacting the generator. Oh, now this is starting to pick up speed. and then that goes in there, and then we switch to the 10 kilovolt wire, and it's a larger wire, so thus the fatter opening. I want to whack it with a screwdriver just to see if you can spin it around, but I'll offer that as a hint to you guys. If it doesn't line up the way you want it to, it's not oriented properly, first thing you should do is try whacking it with a screwdriver to see if it flops itself around before you start connecting wires to it. So that's let's put the other transformer here. Actually, what we'll do, again, not doing a very good job if I'm not showing. Let's just try that. So that, yeah, we're gonna have to whack it with a screwdriver if we're gonna get that to line up. So here's my sonic screwdriver, and if we hit it, yeah, it turns. So in this case, we want that side, obviously, to receive the 10 kilovolt wire. And then this side, we'll just use some of this. And we'll put it here for now. See, that goes over. That's filling up pretty aggressively. That's kind of cool. Now what we can do is, I remember enough about our thermopiles and what they were generating, so we can just do a little test and do a comparison in terms of what we're getting out of it. So this wire is receiving 1/4 the voltage and a little over 10 times the amperage for 154 watts compared to our thermopiles downstairs. But this is where it should look pretty crazy. Yeah, 4,000 volts and 0.02 amps from this wire. So that's what the transformer is doing. It's jacking up the voltage, but the amperage stays pretty low. So from that one turbine, we're getting the equivalent of... No, now the amps are way down. Well, compared to what they were when I first tested it, they're way down, but it's still not bad. We're kind of in a weird... I notice it tends to fluctuate, and I'm sure there's a reason for it. I'm sure it's relevant somehow, but it's safe to say that this is the equivalent of approximately 10 thermopiles. And it looks a hell of a lot more interesting. Let's kind of take a look at it from down on the ground and see. I plan on adding one of these on every corner of the facility, even though the other ones aren't necessarily... Actually, I could probably do like that and then that and add a bunch of them, but it's another thing that I have to kind of keep an eye on, because I would make them just because they look cool, even if I didn't need the power, but that would be a lot of copper that I don't have right now. But that's kind of neat. I like that. Aesthetically, functionally, it's kind of a cool addition. So that's basically the nuts and bolts of generating and storing power with REDPOWER 2. There's nothing else except for the other, propeller wind fan. It uses the same kinetic generator. You just whack it with a screwdriver to orient it on its side, and then you put your fan in and I don't even know if you need to whack it with a screwdriver. It might just be you put the propeller in and it turns on its side on its own. I don't know. All I know is I was told that it produces less power, and I'm like, why bother then? If it's just something to make it look pretty, then do that. But for utility purposes, fun and exciting stuff. So not complicated to make, a little bit spendy to make. And again, it does have the durability aspect to this. You can see it's already, the bar shows up after it loses the first little bit of durability. So it's not super fast loss, but it is losing a little bit. Yeah, I think I'll keep making these. There'll have to be a pretty compelling reason to make me stop, just because it's so different. So there we go. We're done with the power gen. I'll be working to get my facilities sorted out. Obviously, I've got a number of things that are just temporary, like you saw. And get that worked out so that the next episode we can talk about getting a rudimentary sorting system in place. Now, this is more controversial than I thought. Everyone has their own way that they like to do it. I like to do it with REDPOWER, and I like to do it as simply and elegantly as I possibly can. So that's what we're going to be focusing on in the next episode. We're getting to the point now where we've got a lot of infrastructure that we've put under our belt, and we need to start thinking about what we're doing with the materials that we're capable of gathering. So if you're looking forward to that episode as much as I am, and you aren't yet subscribed to my channel, the easiest way to know when I add it is to subscribe. So in the meantime, thanks for watching and take care.